Good morning, everybody. So this is a little experiment of mine. I'm going to try what is it? A, a video review of animes that I watch and see how well this goes. Um, First review I'm going to give today is going to be of the anime Hyouka, seen in a photo, maybe attached to this video. Took a few days for me to finish this, because I've had other things to do, but since I'm at home bored and because I'm unemployed at the moment, so I had to find a hobby. And this seemed like a good thing to try and see how well it goes. So let's start with the brief intro to the story. Hyouka is a story about one of our main characters, Oreki Hataro, who's just beginning his life as a high school student, and he has a very droll personality. He doesn't like doing much. He's not very enthusiastic. He calls himself an energy, well, I don't know if that's the right word. He likes to conserve energy. He doesn't like to do much. His life motto is, if I don't have to do it, I won't. And if I have to do it, make it quick. In the beginning scene, he starts talking about how people in high school have a high school life and want to have a rose-colored life and be part of activities and do these things. And he finds them exhausting. He's not even actually sure if that's the kind of life he wants, or he'd rather live his simple life of, not doing much and conserving as much energy as possible and just coasting through. His sister is away overseas, and she sends him a letter telling him, "Oh, hey, I noticed you joined the high school I went to. You got accepted. And I've heard a rumor that a certain club in that school I belong to is going to get terminated. Why don't you join it for me to keep it from getting closed off? And I know how you are. You don't want to spend a lot of energy. From what I hear, she tells him there's not going to be a lot of people in it. It might be just you, so you don't even have to do anything. Just show up. And don't let the club get terminated while you're there." So, upon his sister's request, Oreki reluctantly obliges and joins the club, going on the thought that, cool, I won't have to do anything. So, if it's not going to cause me any problems or any stress, I'll do it. Why not? So, upon getting the key from the administrative room, he goes up to the floor where the club is on, and the door is locked. He unlocks the door. He walks in, but when he walks in, he sees a girl in there looking out the window. And she turns out to be the club president, Shantanda. A very mysterious girl, and he was gonna walk right out, but she grabs his attention and says, "Hey, how are you? How did you get in here? Here, I was just looking out this window, watching another club out on the grounds. Welcome to the club." Introduces herself. And as he was about to walk away, she sucks him into wondering how he got in the room, or or rather, he asks her how she got in the room when it was locked, and she didn't know she was locked in, so she's like, "Oh, that's curious. It was open right before you walked in." In and it goes from a back and forth exchange until she uh, stumbles into the door, and sucks him in with her catchphrase, "I'm curious. Help me figure this out. Why was I locked in this room?" And the scene that instills for this, kind of, not to spoil it, I'm sorry, but it shows a scene where her hair wraps around Oreki with flowers blooming all over, and him staring into her big, pretty purple eyes. And by the way, Tanda, if the pictures are come up right, she is cute. Won't lie. For 2D, judge me how you will. That girl is cute. How can you say no to that face? And when they bump into the door, Oreki's friend from his middle school days, Satoshi, is sitting outside the door listening in. And he comes in, introduces himself, you know, refers to himself as a database, someone who knows a lot of information but can't come to conclusions. And he points, "Oh, hey, Oreki can come to conclusions, though. He's not like me. He can, if he thinks about it hard enough, he can do it." And Oreki's just looking at him, "Dude, why'd you do that?" And somehow, I was like, "Oh, you can? Well, then help me." And he's like, "Crap, I can't say no to your face. All right, I'll help you." So eventually they go throughout thinking about it, and then Oreki hears a noise from the lower floor, thinking of, well, what's going on? He goes and he sees the janitor going through room to room, unlocking, opening the doors, replacing light bulbs. And so he says, if he was here, then he must have been up there thinking this door was supposed to be locked, and it was open. He closed it and locked it as he was making rounds, and locked you in. And she's impressed by this, and convinces him somehow to stay in the classics club, and they convince Satoshi to join with him. As they go along, Areki starts having, in-depth conversations with Shintanda, why she's interested in the club, why did she want to join, why is she the club's president. And she eventually reveals to him that it's because she wants to look into an incident that happened to her uncle 45 years ago, when he attended the school. When she was a little girl, she inquired her uncle about the classics club, and what a word that he used in the classics club meant, Hyouka. When he explained it to her, she cried and was traumatized by this and couldn't really remember what it was. And her uncle has since gone missing and is presumed deceased, and she wants to figure out what this mystery is before she can lay him to rest. Oreki agrees to help her. Again, he either has a crush on her, which the ship between them is kind of there, but there's a lot of holes in it. But you can tell there's feelings there between the two, which is why he wants to help her. not being able to solve the whole thing on his own, he instills the help of his friend Satoshi and another friend from their high school who's a assistant librarian in the school, Mayaka. Now Mayaka has a very big crush on Satoshi knows it, but brushes her off. It gets kind of complicated. Throughout the anime, you'll see their relationship build and change and eventually comes to a head, but it doesn't give you all the information about it, just leaves you to guess and fill in the blanks yourself, which I find kind of annoying because I'd rather be, given more insight onto it rather than, figure it out for yourself. So they set out on a quest to find old anthologies, which is a collection of stories and poems written by the club that they sell during give out during cultural festivals. All the members write it up and put it out. And they want to see if these anthologies have any clues as to what happened 45 years ago, between when Shantanda's uncle was at the school and what incident happened to him. They eventually stumble upon a clue given by Oreki's sister because he sends her a letter telling her about it, and she tells him, "Oh, you can find the anthologies in the newspaper club in a chemical box. That's where we kept them all." So Oreki goes down to the newspaper club, knocks on the club's door, and the club's president comes out, being all sketchy, like, "They're not here. But there's a reason why he's doing that. And again, I don't want to spoil it. It's actually a quite funny exchange between Oreki and the newspaper guy, how he basically blackmails him into revealing the spot where the anthologies are and getting him to deliver them to the Classics Club room. So they get them, they look through them, and they find a clue from a dated anthology from around that time to give them insight onto what may have happened to her uncle. Eventually they dig further and further, and Oreki begins to come with more of a conclusion to what had happened. He finds out that the librarian in the school was attended around 45 years ago and is of the age to know what happened. He schedules a meeting with her, with all the Classics Club's members and the librarian, and gives his theory, she replies, "Wow, it's almost like you were there with so little information." And he has her fill in some gaps, and they solve the mystery of what happened. As to what Hyouka meant, which is what really Shintanda wanted to know, is it ended up being a play on words. And again, not trying to spoil anything, it's actually quite funny what they said it was, or I found it funny. And then they decide, oh, now that it's solved, then we can lay her uncle and Shintan's like, we can lay my uncle to rest. We should write this truth in the anthology along with some other things and put it during our cultural festival, in which they do. And coming towards the cultural festival, they ended up, before we get to those episodes, which is like episodes 12 through 16, the Classic Club starts becoming like a detective, like a mystery club throughout the school, helping solve problems of like friends and other classmates throughout the school when they have trouble figuring things out. They become like a problem-solving club, into which this helps Oreki's development of his personality, because it makes him take a second look on the way he chooses to live his life. And is it the most effective? Would doing things this way maybe be better for him? And it's actually quite interesting how you see the shift in his personality as he begins to really question who he is and really discover who he really is and his hidden potential, which I found quite well done. So when it coming back to the cultural festival, during the cultural festival, for those of you who are interested in this stuff, another club Hyouka belongs to, a manga club, which draws manga and other like animated stories. A lot of the members dress as Vocaloids and do Vocaloid cosplay. It's actually done quite well. I think I've attached videos, or not pictures in this video that you will see, and it's quite nice. Again, and you see a lot of development and personal development between each of the four of our main characters. Their relationships grow closer together. Personal relationships between each of the male and female leads changes. You see sparks of romance in others, and some not, but it's not really made clear. Again, there's a lot of holes left in that, which to me was a little not fulfilling. I wish they did more with it, but I guess it would take away from the actual what the anime actually was. I get that, I guess, but it would have been nice to add that small element into it. As far as, and so that's pretty much the story in a nutshell. You see development as a mystery anime, and the development of who the main focus is on Oreki and his change throughout school life and change in his personality. The music of this anime, it's 22 episodes long, so it is kind of lengthy, but it has two openings and it's split in half, so it has two openings and two endings. The openings were actually quite good, I thought, because they gave you some insight as to how the episodes are, or how that half of the series is going to end up, and gives you certain looks into what to expect. The first ending, I didn't feel really fit along with anything. It was kind of just there. And the second ending, I think, was more, it wasn't bad, but I think it was more of a goof, like a funny kind of ending to wrap things up. Entertainment value, I found it very enjoyable. It was engaging. It made you think, try to solve the mystery before they did. It had some very funny jokes and, nice, again, sprinkles of romance in here and there, which is an element I like. But, and it was easy to understand. But again, like I said, it left some plot holes, I guess, for me. And finally, the art. Art is well done, because Chintanda, again, her design, the best one of the whole entire series. Like, it was well drawn. All in all, I give this it's a mystery, slice of life, and school life anime. So if that's an elements that interest you, give it a look. I gave it a 4 out of 5. Mostly because, again, the one thing that really I didn't like was if one thing I don't like when enemies do, it leaves you on a cliffhanger. Basically, leave you guessing what happens when the anime ends. Like, if this is going to happen between character A, B, C, E, and what goes forth. Like, it leaves you unanswered questions, and it leaves you wanting more instead of satisfied. You're satisfied with how it ends, and you move forward. It's always disappointing when an anime ends, but when they leave you wanting much more than you should expect to have, I don't like that. I don't like cliffhangers where it's been, and then you try and find the source material and to try and finish it, and you can't find it. So that's the end of my very lengthy description. I thank you if you've stuck around this long to see it through, and I hope you guys have a good day. Check it out. It might be worth your time. Have a great day, guys.